Hello all you whiskey enthusiasts, this is Mark from WhiskyWhistle.com bringing you whiskey review number 10. Really excited to be up to the number, that's the 10th in a row here. Well, of course they're in a row. Anyway, with us today is Springbank. Anyway, before we get to that, I want to thank all of you for all of the wonderful comments that you've made both on the YouTube site, the YouTube channel I should say. Really love the comments, and please do keep subscribing. That helps me a lot. Twitter at WhiskyWhistle. Please follow me if you are on Twitter. Facebook. You can also find WhiskyWhistle. You can like that one, and even the website WhiskyWhistle.com. Not much there just yet, but it will keep growing, and I'll be adding some features on there as well. Okay, anyway, so Springbank, as I mentioned, this is a single malt Scotch whiskey from Campbeltown. Campbeltown is, well, I can show you. I've got a nice big map now, courtesy of the Malt shop. Gentlemen, thank you very much for that. 감사합니다. Anyway, so here is the map of Scotland, and right down here you see Campbeltown, and we see Springbank, which is the I guess the easternmost distillery, very close to the coast. So quite interesting. Not far from the Isle of Arran, and around the other side we see the Isle of Islay. Anyway. Now, it is mainland, but of course, just given its location, it has a little bit more of an island character. So that's why it's quite, well, it's been given its own region as a whiskey. So Campbeltown whiskies. Anyway, now, as I mentioned, I want to try to change the format a little bit, so we're going to start with the tasting. So this whiskey, Springbank, by the way, at least on my bottling, there really is not much to look at on the bottle itself. I will read it to you quickly, however. Established 1828, Springbank, aged 10 years, Campbeltown single malt. Campbeltown single malt Scotch whiskey, product of Scotland. Distilled and bottled by J.A. Mitchell & Co. Limited, Campbeltown, Scotland. 70 centiliters, 46% alcohol by volume. Okay, all right. So 46%. This is a natural presentation. It is unchill filtered and natural color as well. And in fact, if you look at the bottle closely, you can see a little bit of sediment in there. And we noticed that before with the Glenfiddich Distillery Edition. Anyway, don't be alarmed if you see a little bit of floaties in there. They're not nothing to detract from the whiskey itself. We want those there. Okay. I have one glass I poured already with a little bit of water, and we can already see the haze, that Scotch mist developing. Anyway, so quite appealing to the eye. I'll set that down. Well, let's uncork this one, and we'll pour a fresh glass. We'll compare them a little bit, okay? So there's the bottle. Interesting black label and a very Gaelic style of lettering. Okay. There we are. My favorite of my Glencairn glasses. This one is from, well, I believe it's a Winnipeg club in Canada. Kilt Lifters Scotch Club. Just got a little bit of cork on there. That's definitely enough. Maybe a little too much for us today. For me today. Oops. Set that down. There. Okay. So, first of all, looking at the color, we can see it's quite a natural shade. Again, this is 10-year-old, so You know what? I didn't find out about the casks. Please comment if you know what sort of casks are being used. I believe they're mostly bourbon casks. I don't think there's very much sherry casks in here at all. However, there might be some proportion of a second fill or maybe a third fill sherry cask involved there. Beautiful legs, and you can see that with all the natural oils intact, we get some beading going on in the glass. Color-wise, again, it's that pale gold shade, pale gold, or the color of hay, a very light lemony shade, and on the nose, well, you will find a slight bit of peat coming through. It is definitely not on the order of Isla or even some of the Highland single malts. And what I get with this one, it's really different. It's very, very complex. Neat, which is what I'm having now. I'm finding some muskmelon or cantaloupe skins. So the outside part of the melon. A touch of sea salt. And, well, here's a Korean flavor note. Some perilla leaf. Perilla leaf in Korean, that's gennip. So a little bit of gennip, sort of a scent to it. Perilla leaf. Perilla is, well, it's not really related to, but it's on the order of a sesame style of seed. And Koreans eat that as a salad green, and also as a wrap for enjoying their meat in. If you haven't had it, please try. Some kiwi, and in the background, there's a little bit of vanilla building up, I should say. Something slightly charred and smoky in there, and that light bit of peat. Anyway, so quite complex. Let's get on to the taste. Cheers, everyone. Mm-hmm. Boy, this is unlike any other of the single malts you'll come across. Anyway, even though it's 46%, which is, again, it's, 15% stronger than the standard of 40%, your tongue definitely will notice. However, despite that, this is still very, very drinkable at full strength. Starts out with some sweetness, some standard barley sugar sort of sweetness. Now, what else am I tasting here? Some slightly unripe peaches. So there's a nice fruity note there as well. And this is another one of these single malts that has a wonderful balance of sweet, sour, and bitterness. So a little bit of apple cider vinegar, and the bitterness, think of orange peel marmalade. So marmalade with lots of orange peel, even some fresh orange peel in there. There's also some tropical fruit, and I mentioned the salt. And well, I tried recently dragon fruit, and boy, it is, it's just slightly salty. I don't want to say it's not salty, but briny. It's really briny, a sweet briny flavor. So I'm picking up a bit of that there. And when I drink this, every now and again I get this little hint of cola balls. That's the little candy. They might have been silver. They were silver in Winnipeg when I grew up. Little cola ball candies. Not sure what color they were or what shape they took where you're from. Anyway, so a little bit of cola balls there. And other tropical fruits, which I can't really identify at full strength. Yeah, it's very drinkable at full strength. The finish is quite long. With a little bit of peat that still comes through, and that tropical fruitiness, the papaya and the seeds is something that I'm noticing there. It's also quite dry. Some herbal notes like basil and rosemary also coming through. When you put that in the mortar and pestle and you rub it around a little bit, a little more rosemary than basil. And limeade. So not lemonade, but limeade. Anyway, quite complex, very different, and entirely enjoyable. Definitely worth running out and getting. Not quite as readily available as some of the bigger brands. However, it should be available in a good retailer wherever you are. Anyway, I should probably set that down. Let's have a look at the one with a little bit of water and some time. So we're talking about 20 minutes or so there, and I probably added about 1.5 teaspoons of water, so maybe 7.5 milliliters. And let's smell that. And the peat really fades away. You notice more oak tones, so some vanilla, vanilla bean in fact, spices, cardamom, and still quite salty. How about the taste with a bit of water? It becomes much more silky. You get a bit of a velvety mouth feel. So that's quite interesting. The peaches are ripening with water added. What else have I written down there? Oh dear. I'm too far away to read that. I guess I need some glasses pretty soon. Still has the cola effect there. Oh, what does that say? That's bothering me. Oh, the orange peels have given way to just a nice sweet, sour orange flavor. Very nice. Finish with water, not much different. A little bit more oak, and some of that, a little bit of the charred wood flavor, so wood smoke flavors, and some mild tobacco to finish it off. You might be thinking, I'm not a smoker. I don't want it to smell like tobacco. But you know what? Tobacco leaves, they certainly have a particular sort of a scent. And, well, I quite like the smell of unburnt tobacco. I don't mind a cigar now and again. It's been quite a while since I've had one. I've got 3 up in the cupboard there that have been waiting for someone to come and share them with me. Hint, hint. Anyway, so that's Springbank to me. Your experience, of course, may be a little bit different, but I think you will find it is quite complex and different than other regions and other brands. So, what score will Springbank get with WhiskyWhistle? I am going to give it a 92 out of 100. And I thought about it. I thought maybe 90 is good. But you know what? The sheer quality of this and the complexity and the varied flavors, the mouthfeel, the fact that I enjoy drinking it, even though it's strong, tells me that this is a really high quality spirit that they've made, and they've taken care of it in maturation, and they presented it with well, as little sort of fluff as possible. So anyway, Springbank, wonderful job with your 10-year-old. I can't wait to try other ones. So let's talk a little bit about the distillery now. Okay, so I mentioned the location, Campbeltown, the southeastern corner of Campbeltown, and on the bottle you'll notice that they put the date on there, established 1828. So I've already said that. And what else? Well, it's family owned. It's been family owned since its inception, and the founder was a fellow by the name of Archibald Mitchell. Boy, and when I heard the name Mitchell, I wondered, there's another Mitchell that I know whose name is Ralphie. Could there be any connection there? Likely not. But anyway, you never know. One of those secrets, perhaps. Anyway, so Archibald Mitchell in Campbeltown, the southern Kintyre Peninsula. That's what the name of that peninsula there. He started working at a different distillery for a period of time in the 1820s before founding Springbank with the help of his brother William, I believe. So 1828, and shortly thereafter his son joined, and so then it adopted, his son John joined, and William, and they took over the distillery. So, and then after that, John's son, whose name I could not find, might be Archibald, but anyway, so then it became known as J&A Mitchell. So right on the front there we see J&A Mitchell and Co. Limited. So that's the name of the company that was founded. Went through some ups and downs throughout the history. I guess the 1920s were quite difficult for a lot of distilleries. Many closed in Campbeltown. There used to be quite a few distilleries, maybe up to 30, I think. So now there's only 3. And again in the 1980s, I guess there was a bit of a lull in the industry. The family, of course, kept things going with Springbank Distillery. The older brother William, he founded Glengyle Distillery, which is right next door. Glengyle Distillery, also Campbeltown. However, he had to sell it in the 1920s, and it had a relatively short run, let's say. And then, interestingly enough, the current chairman of the J&A Springbank Co. Limited, who is Hedley C. Wright, Didn't get a picture of him there. I should have found one. Sorry about that, Mr. Wright. He's the great-great-grandson of Archibald, the founder of the distillery. And anyway, they repurchased the Glengyle distillery, so it's back in the family and producing spirit once again. Anyway, so that's a little bit about the history of Springbank. Interestingly enough, they do everything. They grow their own they grow their own barley. They malt it themselves. Of course, the distillation happens there. Everything is casked and matured and stored at the distillery. And even bottling they do themselves, which is, I believe, they are the only ones who bottle their own whiskey. Incredible operation. And well, I guess they are quite the Campbeltown family. Probably that's the place to work if you live in that city. I'd sure love a job there. If you want to move my whole family there. Anyway, that could be fun. Won't bore you too much with the pictures. That's Campbeltown you see right there. And you've rolled through and you've seen, that's the barley as it gets malted. So that's the malting floor. And what else? We have the stills coming up next. There are the stills. They're not that large. They've got 3 stills, 1 wash still and 2 spirit stills. I should have mentioned, most Scotch whiskey is distilled twice. This one, however, is distilled 2.5 times. Once the spirit has been distilled a second time, some portion of that resulting new make is put back into the second still for another run. So in the still you have previously double stilled spirit along with single stilled spirit. So once that gets distilled again, then you've got 2 times distilled plus 3 times distilled spirits, so calling it 2.5. I think that's what's going on there. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, anyway, so 92 out of 100 for Springbank. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next number 11 of the Whiskey Whistle reviews. I'm going to be doing something from Asia, and so there's a little bit of a cliffhanger for you. Tune back in and you'll find out. I'm really excited about it. I really want to do it tonight, but I think it's too late, and I think I should have a little bit of space between these reviews. Okay, anyway, tune in again next time. I'm Mark from WhiskyWhistle.com, and we'll see you again very soon. Goodbye.